Ambassador Vrel 9 had never seen the Grand Council chamber so quiet. You could hear the atmospheric recyclers humming, which, frankly, was never a good sign when you had 47 species packed into one room. The humans had just walked out. Actually, walked was too gentle a word. They had stood up, gathered their tablets, and left without so much as a backward glance. Did that just happen? Counselor Thane whispered, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. Did the humans actually leave negotiations? Apparently so, muttered High Magistrate Oren, her scales shifting to a nervous purple. In 300 cycles of council history, no species has ever abandoned peace talks. Vrel 9 wanted to laugh. Oh, how he wanted to laugh. For months, the council had treated the humans like naive children who had stumbled into the galactic playground. Fresh from their little blue planet, barely 2 centuries into space travel, and here they were demanding equal representation. Equal. As if their 30 colonies could compare to the Valerian Empire's 800 systems or the Kresh Dominion's military might. Good riddance, announced Supreme Commander Koreth, slamming his massive fist on the table. The impact sent data pads sliding across the polished surface. Let them sulk in their corner of space. They need us far more than we need them. Except here was the thing nobody wanted to say out loud. The humans controlled the Kepler Junction. You know, that cute little nexus of jump routes that connected 17 major trade corridors? Yeah, that one. The same junction that shaved 6 weeks off shipping times between the core worlds and the outer rim. Minor detail, really. Perhaps we were too hasty, ventured Delegate Mira, her voice barely above a whisper. She represented the Quellan Confederation, a species that actually bothered to study human history. Their representative, Marcus Webb, tried to warn us about territorial disputes in the Centauri cluster. Warn us? Koreth's laugh boomed through the chamber. Humans have been in space for what, 200 years? My ancestors were building stargates when theirs were still banging rocks together. Vrel 9 nodded along with the others, but something cold was settling in his stomach. He had reviewed the human proposals last night, actually read them, unlike his colleagues who had simply dismissed them as the ramblings of newcomers. The humans had not been asking for much. Buffer zones around colony worlds, trade route monitoring, a mutual defense pact that, honestly, would have cost the council almost nothing. Meeting adjourned, Oren declared, her voice tight. We reconvene in 3 days to discuss alternative routes around human space. Around human space. There was that phrase again, as if you could just go around the single largest connected network of habitable systems discovered in the last millennium. Sure, no problem. Vrel 9 gathered his materials and headed for the exit. The corridors of the council tower were filling with diplomats, all chattering excitedly about the human departure. Most seemed relieved. Some were already calculating how to divide human territories once their inevitable collapse came. Fools. Complete and utter fools. His personal communicator buzzed. A priority message from his intelligence officer, Kalen. Sir, you need to see this. Now. Vrel 9 ducked into a private booth and activated the secure channel. Kalen's face appeared, and she looked worried. Kalen never looked worried. She had survived 3 assassination attempts and a civil war without breaking a sweat. What is it? The humans have closed the Kepler Junction. All traffic. No exceptions. They cannot do that. There are treaties, agreements, centuries of trade law. Apparently, they can. They cited security concerns. Their exact words were, and I quote, until the Galactic Council demonstrates good faith negotiations, humanity will be securing its borders. Sir, that's not even the worst part. Of course it was not. Why would it be? 17 human colony worlds have activated defense platforms we did not know existed. Our scout ships report energy signatures consistent with weapons technology decades ahead of anything in council arsenals. Sir, where did they get this? Vrel 9 felt his blood temperature drop. They built it themselves. In secret? That's impossible. We monitor all industrial output, all research facilities. Apparently not closely enough. Vrel 9 closed his eyes. The humans have been playing us from the beginning. They came to the council appearing weak, asking for simple protections, while building the most advanced defensive network in the sector. What do? We panic, Vrel 9 said simply. Because in approximately 72 hours, when trade ships cannot deliver goods, when passenger liners are stranded, when the entire economic infrastructure of 900 systems starts grinding to a halt, the council is going to realize something important. What's that, sir? The humans were never asking for permission to be taken seriously. They were simply being polite before demonstrating exactly why they should be. 72 hours turn out to be optimistic. The galactic economy started collapsing in 48. Vrel 9 stood in his quarters, watching the news feeds pile up like a multi-vehicle accident in slow motion. Cargo ships stranded at the Kepler Junction perimeter. Mining operations in the Centauri cluster going dark without supply runs. The Valerian Stock Exchange had dropped 30% in 2 days. 30%. He would have found it hilarious if his own pension was not tied up in Valerian trade bonds. His communicator buzzed again. Supreme Commander Koreth this time. Oh, this was going to be entertaining. Ambassador Vrel 9, the council requests your immediate presence. Requests. Sure, that was definitely a request and not a barely concealed order from people who were absolutely panicking. The Grand Council chamber looked different now. Gone were the confident postures, the dismissive gestures, the casual arrogance that had filled the room 3 days ago. High Magistrate Oren Scales had shifted to a sickly gray color. Councillor Thane's 3 eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep. Even Koreth looked smaller somehow, his massive frame hunched over tactical displays. The situation is untenable, Oren began without preamble. 47 member worlds are demanding action. The Quellan Confederation lost 2 billion credits in the last day alone. The Kresh Dominion's military supply lines are cut off. We need solutions and we need them now. Send in the fleet, Koreth growled. We have superior numbers. We can force passage through the junction. Delegate Mira actually laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Did you review the tactical assessments? Those defense platforms the humans activated? Our weapons do not even scratch them. We sent 3 destroyers to test their resolve. 3. They were disabled in under 90 seconds with some kind of electromagnetic pulse we cannot replicate or defend against. Not destroyed, mind you. Disabled. The humans sent them back with a note that said, please stop. This is embarrassing for everyone. Vrel 9 bit back a smile. The humans had style. He had to give them that. So what do you suggest? Koreth demanded. We cannot simply let them dictate terms. Why not? Vrel 9 heard himself say. Every head in the chamber turned toward him. No, seriously. Why not? They asked for reasonable terms. We refused. They demonstrated they have leverage. Now we negotiate properly, or we watch our economies crumble. This is basic diplomacy. We are the Galactic Council. Koreth's voice echoed off the walls. We do not bow to demand from species barely out of their solar system. Except this species clearly is not what we assumed. Vrel 9 pulled up a holographic display. While we were congratulating ourselves on our superiority, the humans were doing something remarkable. They were learning. Every treaty we showed them, every regulation, every loophole. They studied council law better than species who have been members for centuries. And then they found something interesting. He expanded the display. Article 7, Section 12 of the Council Charter. Any species may temporarily restrict access to sovereign space during periods of security concern. The duration of such restrictions is left to the discretion of the restricting party. There is no maximum time limit. The humans can keep the junction closed indefinitely, and we cannot legally do anything about it. The silence that followed was beautiful. Absolute, pure, horrified silence. They weaponized our own laws against us, Mira said softly. That is actually brilliant. Brilliant? Koreth. It is treachery. No, brilnueve. It is what we would have done in their position. What any of us would have done. The humans simply did it better. Orange scales flickered through several colors before settling on resigned blue. Were there terms for reopening the junction? I will check. Vrel 9 pulled up the latest transmission from the human delegation. Marcus Webb's face appeared on screen, and the man looked frustratingly calm, almost amused. Greetings, esteemed members of the Galactic Council. Humanity is prepared to resume normal traffic through the Kepler Junction under the following conditions. First, equal voting rights on all council matters affecting human space. Second, establishment of buffer zones around human colonies as originally proposed. Third, mutual defense agreements with enforcement mechanisms. Fourth, a formal apology for wasting everyone's time with that ridiculous negotiation farce last week. We will reconvene talks when you're ready to treat us like the equals we clearly are. Have a pleasant day. The recording ended. Vrel 9 looked around the chamber. 47 species, hundreds of worlds, millions of years of collective advancement. All of it brought to a standstill by one species that had been in space for barely 2 centuries. Well, he said cheerfully, anyone want to draft that apology, or should I? Koreth looked like he might explode. Orin appeared physically ill, but Delegate Mira was smiling now, actually smiling. I like them, she announced. I vote we accept their terms immediately and never, ever underestimate humans again. Seconded, Vrel 9 added quickly. One by one, hands and appendages and various limbs rose in agreement. Even Koreth, after a long moment, raised his massive fist. Motion carries, Orin said weakly. Someone contact the humans and tell them we are ready to negotiate. Properly this time. Vrel 9 sent the message and sat back. Somewhere on Earth or one of their colonies, he imagined Marcus Webb and his team were probably laughing themselves sick. They had played the entire Galactic Council like a musical instrument, and the symphony had been magnificent. Never underestimate the humans. He made a mental note to have that engraved on something. Maybe his desk. Possibly his forehead. The council had learned an important lesson today. Sometimes the newest species in the room is not the weakest. Sometimes they're just the ones smart enough to let everyone else think so. And that, Vrel 9 reflected, was absolutely terrifying in the best possible way. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.